I want to talk boxing because I just feel like right now my soul needs to get this shit off my chest. And we're gonna cover a couple topics here. Marciano and Mayweather. Anybody know who Rocky Marciano is? And why I put him in the same sentence with Floyd Mayweather? Okay. We're gonna also talk what Floyd Mayweather's proper ranking should be amongst the all-time great fighters. Pound for pound. And then I just want to get into respect. So Mayweather Marciano, where Mayweather should be properly ranked amongst the all-time greats on a pound for pound level, and respect, which I really think I should talk about respect first, but I'm going to hold off on that. I want to start this off by saying boxing, to me, you can argue, but boxing to me is the greatest sport in the world. And I think, yes, there could be some improvements on the sport in general. This is like the world's longest freestyle as far as organization in a profession like boxing. Because as old as boxing is, you would think that it should be operating on a much higher level of professionalism. You know, in 2022, there should be no such thing as a bad decision. In 2022, there should not be more than one champion in each weight class in 2022. But because we still freestyling, and, you know, the promoters and the networks are not allowing a unification to where we can pretty much have a boxing league, in a sense, like they do MMA. The only thing I don't like about MMA, like I'm not really into the sport. But the other bad thing that I don't, and it's not even bad. MMA is a beautiful sport. I just, you know, the first time I got introduced to it, I saw a man knock another man down and then kicking and jump on him while he was down. And I said to myself, what the fuck is this? This is just WWE that's unscripted. And the blows are really, really hard. They're real blows. They're not having a predetermined outcome. It's not entertainment. But it's real. That's my first impression of what, you know, UFC was. So that was kind of a turnoff to me, but that was just because I'm a boxing fan. So I'm a traditional guy. You know, if I knock a nigga down, I'm gonna give him a little bit of time to get back to his feet. Or the referee's supposed to give him some time to get back to his feet. And if he does get back to his feet and he still can't fight, then we just stop it. We don't want to hurt nobody, although people in boxing get hurt. But we ain't, as far as boxing is concerned, and it's probably another reason why I'm in love with it as well. You know, this is disorganized organization. Complete with corruption and niggas getting robbed. Excuse me if using the N-word is offending to some people. I would try to not do it as much, but I'm a hip hop dude, and boxing, you can't get boxing without hip hop anyway nowadays. So, I mean, this is just what we talk, how we talk, and you just got to deal with it. But I don't want to be disrespectful to nobody because I don't want to turn anybody off to my channel, because there are things that I put on my channel that's specifically to help people. And in this case, I'm talking about the sport of boxing. So we're going to start with Marciano and Mayweather. Oh, yeah, and I was getting back to the whole thing, you know, before I kind of fell off track and got into how disorganized the sport of boxing is. I was making my point that it's the greatest sport in the world. This is my opinion, but also a fact that kind of backs up my statement of it being the greatest sport in the world is the fact that the heavyweight championship of the world is the most prestigious prize in all of sports. The Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA Finals, the World Cup, the Indy 500, the National College Football Championship, March Madness. All of that shit takes a seat when it's a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And the reason I say heavyweight is because I'm transitioning to Rocky Marciano, who he retired at 49-0. And, you know, I knew a lot more about Rocky Marciano in my younger days in boxing because I was really, I was actually a gym rat to a degree, but at the same time, I loved to watch it. I had videotapes and VCR tapes full of fights, and my whole thing was to sit on a Saturday afternoon with Pops and we watched Sugar Ray Leonard and Larry Holmes and the Spinks brothers and Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran and Wilfred Benitez and Ray Mancini and Alexis Arguello. I'm gonna stop. But we saw them all on TV for free. You know, it was free TV back then. Wide World of Sports on ABC. NBC had NBC Sports World. CBS either had Sports Saturday or Sports Sunday. It was big back in the day. And you know, the face of boxing when I was coming up was Muhammad Ali. But I heard an interview with Muhammad Ali over the last couple of years when he was still fighting, but he wasn't the young Muhammad Ali anymore. He was a much more wise, I don't want to say humble, because I don't believe that Muhammad Ali was humble or should be humble. If you are God in a boxing ring, there's no reason to be humble. If you can do everything in the boxing ring and everything on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 10 all the way across the board. If your name is Muhammad Ali, in those squared circles, in those corners, in those four corners with the square circle in the middle, Muhammad Ali is God with a big fucking G, okay? Ali said, because they was interviewing him about who he thought would give him a good fight through history. And he had all his critiques and his reasonings behind each, like, you know, I didn't see the whole interview, but I know he was asked about Joe Louis. I know he was asked about Jack Johnson. And he was also asked about Rocky Marciano. And if I am not mistaken, I believe that it may have been Cus D'Amato who was giving him the interview. It could have been Cus D'Amato. Either him or Howard Cosell, but I'm willing to bet that it was him and Customato having a talk, and they just happened to film the talk. And Cuss was asking him about all these questions about the great fighters, because Cuss was a boxing historian who once created the baddest man on the planet. So, but I'm not going to go there right now. So anyway, they asked Muhammad Ali who he thought in the history of boxing would give him a tough fight. And his most passionate answer came in the form of Rocky Marciano. And the reason why I say it was passionate, because, you know, we all know who the hell Muhammad Ali is. We ain't never heard him ever come out of his mouth and put anybody in the same sentence with him. He didn't even put Frazier in the same sentence with him until after the third fight, when he thought that he was going to damn near die. Remember, the Thriller in Manila was stopped, but they were intent on killing each other, but they had one round left. So I don't know if either one of them would have, unfortunately, had passed away in the ring, but that was the intent of both of them as the fight went on. And he gave it up to Frazier. Out of those 3 fights, it was Frazier that fought him the toughest. And he said that if it wasn't for me, the greatest of all time would be Joe Frazier. But it just so happened that I'm in the era with him, and I'm the one who actually beat him. So it has to be me. Because in Ali's mind at the time, I would probably assume that he believed that Frazier would beat everybody in history other than him. So when they asked Ali about Marciano, he out of everyone he was 100% sure he would beat. The only fighter that he did not know if he could beat was Rocky Marciano. And Rocky Marciano has the greatest record in all of professional boxing. Because not only was he the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world in an era where there was only one champion per weight class, he retired undefeated at 49-0. So let me give you a little bit of a lesson on the significance of the heavyweight championship of the world against all the other championships in boxing. So in boxing, they have weight classes for a reason. 100 times out of 100 times, Mike Tyson would kill Manny Pacquiao. I'm not saying he would beat Manny Pacquiao. I'm not saying he would outbox Manny Pacquiao. I'm saying he would kill Manny Pacquiao. If there was ever a sanctioned fight between him and Manny Pacquiao, there was no way a prime Mike Tyson would let a 135-pound Manny Pacquiao live out of the first round. And we all know how great Manny Pacquiao is, right? Can we all agree that he's definitely a top 20 all-time great fighter? A lot of people can argue that he's top 10. He ain't doing nothing with Mike Tyson. And this is the reason why boxing has weight classes, because they want to put evenly matched individuals in the ring against one another for the purpose of safety. So that's why you have, it's a lot of weight classes now, and I'm gonna run through them real quick. You got a 108, then you got 112, then you got 115, then you got 118, then you got 122, you got 126, 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160, 168, 175, 190, and 200. Anything over 200 pounds. It used to be anything over 175 pounds was a heavyweight. But because there were fighters who just could not be 175, but yet they were too small to be heavyweights, to make it fair for people like that, then they said, okay, we'll make a junior or a cruiser weight champion, a cruiserweight division, a junior heavyweight champion, if you will. So when you look at boxing and when you categorize boxing, you have a pound for pound list, and then you have the heavyweights. Sugar Ray Robinson was so good that everybody knew that it wasn't nothing under his weight class that could even be in the same circle with him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody boxes, it's all the same routine and practice. But each and every prize fighter puts their own thing to it to make it theirs. This is the difference between great fighters and good fighters. Ray Robinson was so good that he embodied every category: speed, power, he had style, he could move, he was defense, everything. This is what Ray Robinson was. And he was so good, but it was unrealistic to put him in there with a heavyweight. So the people had to come up with something to give to him so he can smell his flowers while he was still here and say, we don't know what to do with you, Ray Robinson. So what we're going to do is create this thing called pound for pound. So that way, a 108-pound fighter, if he's really that great, you can hypothetically or subjectively, objectively say, this 112-pound fighter, he is amazing with his skill set, his punching power, his defense. And then there's a middleweight who's a dominant middleweight champion who's just bigger than the smaller guy. But the other guy, he's got the more skills and he's beaten the better competition throughout the length of his career. So this guy here is going to be the pound for pound best fighter in the world, simply because he's too small to fight a heavyweight. This is how they divided the situation between heavyweights and then the other boxers who were in the sport. We want to know that in a healthy boxing, we have only one heavyweight champion of the world. But overall, let's just know, we always debate who is the best overall player, just like you do in the NBA. Is it LeBron? Is it Steph? Is it whomever? The best fighters in the world, pound for pound, they can be heavyweights, but it wasn't for the heavyweight. Just like Marciano's 49-0, it wasn't a record for the smaller weight class fighters.